Founded presents Triumph, India's leading virtual career fair for diversity. Discover over 5,000 jobs at companies that celebrate you. Find a workplace that's equally yours between the 12th to the 14th of November. Enroll now.
Hello everyone, welcome back to our series on empowering women and building networks. My name is Priya Nair and I lead the talent acquisition team for Founded. I would be hosting the session today. In this session, we will explore how can women shape workplace policies together with Dr. Sailaja. With over 30 years of experience in various industries like academia, government, and startups, Dr. Sailaja has dedicated her career to driving meaningful change in every space she touches. She has led numerous initiatives under the POSH Act and has been recognized as a global super achiever, values champion, and an exceptional woman. Her passion for inclusivity and leadership development stands out through her work, and today she'll share valuable insights on how women can drive policy change in the workplace. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Sailaja. Thank you so much, Dr. Sailaja, for joining us today. My first question to you, Dr. Sailaja, would be that when women are not in the leadership roles, their voices in shaping the policies can get lost. So how can companies ensure that women are heard, whether they are in leadership positions or not?
Absolutely. I think, see, the major pain points, because I've been in the corporate for about 30 years now, are the limited representation of women, right? They face a lot of barriers to reaching leadership roles, right? So it limits their ability to influence workplace policy decisions in particular that directly impact them. So there has to be a lot of individual effort to drive this policy change. Otherwise, for a unified group, it'll be very hard to achieve significant and lasting changes to this particular, pain point of what you just mentioned.
Absolutely. So how can women come together to make sure that there are more meaningful and lasting changes in the organizations?
Very important, right? So we have to encourage an open dialogue, right? Create those kind of structured forums or platforms for discussing policy issues. And typically, these policy issues are those that affect women, so that we are encouraging these diverse perspectives and constructive solutions. We should also share resources. We have to provide women with the necessary resources, tools, and trainings to effectively advocate for policy changes within a particular organization. It could be anything, right? Sector agnostic, but somewhere we have to bring in these. And how do we highlight successful advocacy? We have to showcase various examples of successful policy changes that are driven by women, both within and outside the organization. This way, I think we could definitely inspire further advocacy efforts.
Absolutely, Dr. Sailaja, can't agree more to it. So another question coming here is how can women figure out who within the organization, who has the real power, to actually influence the policy? Because that is also important as to who will bring about that change to reach out to the right person.
Absolutely. So I think we just spoke about it, but let me give you the corporate solutions bit of it, right? So the first thing is, how do we implement the policy review processes? So do we really establish this regular evaluation of workplace policies to ensure they are inclusive and meet the evolving needs of women and other underrepresented groups? We have to foster a culture of advocacy. We have to create this environment where employees feel empowered to speak up, right? Especially women, and advocate for changes that promote gender equality and workplace inclusion. There's so much these days, Priya, people talk about diversity, equity, inclusion. But are we really there, right? Do we show that kind of respect towards each other? Do we promote those network groups among our own female employees, right? And can we consider creating these training programs that teach us how to effectively advocate for themselves and their peers? I think this would definitely complement the shared resources thing that we just spoke about, and also foster a culture of advocacy, right? And the mentorship and sponsorship networks. Can we really include these programs that are key to supporting women in leadership roles where policy decisions are made, right? So that way, I think we can build a lot of alliances that can add to long-term success in advocacy. And also male allies, right? How do we ensure that we also are there talking to them, getting empowered, and also taking a lot of insights and perspectives from them as well?
Absolutely. So it's not just about the policy, how it's coming together, and how, as an organization, we are all paving the way towards an organization which is driven for women, is what we are looking at. So how can we create forums also?
Absolutely.
Yeah. How can we create forums, where women feel that they can openly discuss these policy issues within the organization? So what can be done, or what are the forums that, can be created within the organizations? So what is your view on that?
Very, very nice. Very important question, and also I think which is very easy to implement, right? How do women push for the development of programs that foster gender equity? For example, leadership workshops, diversity trainings, family-friendly policies, right? Can we have regular discussions on gender parity at the workplace? Maybe lunch and learn session kind of stuff, right? Can we have these panels or seminars that can build awareness and momentum for policy change? I think these are some of things which are very easy to implement at the corporate atmosphere. It could be government or colleges as well, doesn't really matter, but somewhere we have to bring in that, create that gender equitable work culture initiatives.
Right. And what are the kind of resources and the support that can be provided by the companies to women so that they confidently advocate, for a policy change? Because it's always, something that they want, but they're not openly coming up with what actually they need. So how can there be an atmosphere or resources? What support can be provided to them?
Absolutely, I think corporates have a large, role to play. So when they are supporting the gender policies, they should also ensure they're gender neutral, because they
Right.
can't be talking only about women alone, right? So they have to talk about these policies that benefit all employees and eliminate these kind of biases, that disproportionately affect women. For example,
Mhm.
parental leave, right, for both mothers and fathers, mental health support, anti discrimination measures, right? And women can collaborate to ensure these policies are inclusive and reflect the needs of a diverse workforce. So we have to push for uh, transparency and accountability. And that can be done only when women come collectively and they advocate for transparency in decision making processes or pay structures and promotion criteria. And we have to speak up for ourselves, Priya. I think somewhere,
Yeah,
we feel
absolutely.
that, okay, should we really speak? Should we really, so, but I think we have to request clear metrics and accountability measures. This way, I feel women can definitely ensure that workplace policies are implemented fairly and equitably.
So, in terms of looking at some corporate solutions, though we've spoken a lot about them, so what's the best way for organizations to evaluate their policies time and again, on a regular basis to ensure that they are truly supporting? Because it's like something which is documented as one side,
Yeah.
and how it is positively, impacting the women in the organization is what actually is the key, right? That's the outcome the
Yes.
organizations are looking at. So, how can they evaluate their policies from time to time? Uh,
Very nice. See, we have to check for the decisions of policies that are made with a gender balanced perspective, right, for the corporate. Now, how do we monitor them? How do we ensure that they're actually implemented? We have to create, I think, from an HR perspective, if you ask me, right, for about 30 years, I've been in the HR. So we create this feedback loops, right? Establish regular forums for women to provide feedback on the current policies and then suggest improvements. Now, once they do that, we go back to them every month or every quarter and say that, hey, you have given this feedback and this is the improvement that we are showing, right? So this also can be done through surveys, focus group discussions, town hall meetings, where women collectively review the effectiveness of the existing policies and recommend any actionable changes. So if they recommend, we go back and say we have implemented this or we could not implement for whatever reason, right? So I think creating that feedback loop is missing right now in a lot of organizations, Priya.
So, and this is an interesting question that I have next. So, do you feel advocacy is a skill that can be learned? Because what I also feel, and being in HR for some time, when I'm talking to candidates, even leadership levels, that the expectations in terms of salaries, the negotiation skills for females are poor. So they are not able to advocate or fight for what they actually probably can, get vis-a-vis, the other gender that we hire. So from that point of view, is advocacy a skill that can be learned? That's my first question. If so, what kind of training programs, so to say, do you think can empower women confidently to push that this is something that you can, ask for? This is something that can be delivered by your organization. So how do you think that will work?
Very, very interesting. I've never heard this question so far. Is advocacy a skill? Definitely yes, because it is a one that involves the ability to effectively support or recommend a cause or a policy, right? In this case, it could be a cause, policy, or issue. So,
Mm.
advocacy requires a blend of communication, persuasion, strategic thinking, and relationship building abilities, right? So, that's why it's
Right.
called, it's definitely, if you ask me, it's a very valuable and developable skill, right? So, if you look
Right.
at, for example, communication, right? So, are we able to really talk about advocacy? Because articulating our ideas clearly and persuasively is crucial in advocacy, right? It could be verbal, it could be written communication. Are we able to convey our message? Is it compelling? Is it easy to understand? Right? So, advocacy, the first component, right? The key component is communication skills. The second one I
Right.
would say is research and knowledge, because advocacy often involves gathering a lot of facts, statistics, and
Right.
relevant information, because we need to build a strong evidence based case. So, a good advocate of any policy or an issue knows the details of the issue they're supporting and can explain the nuances to others, right? And then, of
Right.
course, persuasion and influence. How
Yeah.
do we really have that ability to tell others, especially the decision makers, stakeholders, or
Yeah.
maybe leaders with opposing views? Because I find them a lot, right, these days. So we
Yeah.
need to negotiate, we need to frame arguments persuasively and know how to influence their attitude and behavior, right? So that's
Right.
very, very crucial, especially for women, right? So,
Mm.
like you rightly said, can we do some training programs? Definitely, yes. Can we do the strategic thinking bit of it? How to be a better advocate of your own cause? How do you identify the goals, map out all this, and choose the best avenues, right, to push your message forward? So, strategic thinking is very, very crucial. How do you build relationship with various stakeholders, right? Business stakeholders, because successful advocacy relies heavily on building networks and alliances. So, can we foster relationships with key influencers in the organizations, the policy makers, say, for example, the local community members, or external organizations that can help us support our cause? Right? Very, very crucial are these few skills, right? Apart from that, we have all these, I would say, the supplementary, complementary skills, which are listening skills, adaptability, empathy, and of course, problem solving, right?
Right.
But if
Right.
you ask me to sum it up, advocacy is the multifaceted skill, right? That
Yes.
combines interpersonal, strategic, and communication competencies. So it is valuable in many contexts, and corporate is nothing different. This can
Yeah.
play a major role in anything, whether it's a public policy or whether it is your policy in the organization.
Yeah. So I think organizations can start looking at this as as a part of their L&D initiative. This should be taken up. Absolutely.
Absolutely, yes, yes.
So to conclude, Dr. Shelja, so what are the three things that women professionals can take away regarding the driving the policy changes? So if there are three things that you would want to highlight, what would they be?
You mean the key skills or just the three parameters?
parameters in terms of driving the policy changes per se?
So as I said, we need to we need to ensure that we speak up for ourselves, because women can play a vital role in driving policy changes, but they should address systemic issues, promote equity, and create that inclusive work environment. Just because you're a woman, we should not go and fight that, we want these policies. So I feel that we should be our own advocate, first of all, create that kind of equal pay and pay transparency policy changes that we need to drive. For example, the child care support, right? The different policy changes that we can drive, because a lot of organizations don't really bother about child care policy, right? They say that maternity leave is done, so you're back to work, right? So can we create that support and create that supportive, flexible working arrangement for women is something that we have to fight for ourselves, right? And majorly, I would say leadership development and representation. Why is this important? Because women remain underrepresented in senior leadership roles, right?
Absolutely.
Because the moment this happens, you're limited, right, in terms of decision making, and it perpetuates gender inequality at all levels, especially at the higher level, right? So women should have access to leadership roles, because I've seen that for so many years. Because when I try to bring up a woman leader, there is some issue or the other that happens, and they say that no, maybe a man would do this job well. So we need to have women coming up and doing this kind of roles. This is essential for creating that balanced and inclusive place. So we can do so many, Priya, but I think driving these changes, by driving these kind of changes at workplace, we as women can help shape policies, and these policies foster a more equitable, supportive, and inclusive work environment for everybody, not just women. Right? It's for everybody.
Everybody. Absolutely.
So I would say the top three, if you ask me, just to sum it up, equal pay and pay transparency, childcare support and parental leave, and leadership development and representation. For all this to happen, we have to speak up for ourselves.
For ourselves. I think that's the key takeaway. Women should speak up for themselves, and at the right forum, the right timing. That is also important. They are always
support each other.
Absolutely support each other, talk at the right place, and make sure that you are heard. So I think that is definitely my takeaway from the session, Dr. Sailaja. Thank you so much for taking out time. And this is such an important topic. Diversity is such an important area. We all the organizations are striving for diversity and inclusivity. So thank you so much for taking our time. I hope our audience also had a lot of takeaways from this. And if anyone in the audience has questions, please drop in the comments. We'll be able to address them in some time.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Priya, and thank you, Foundit, for this wonderful opportunity. It's a great privilege to talk about this topic at any point in time. Lovely having this conversation with you. Thanks, Priya.
Thank you.
Bye.